He's a loser, Tyler. We're almost at the finish line.
You were cheating. I was gathering evidence for court.
The divorce papers were supposed to arrive next Tuesday. Instead, I found my wife, Monica's half-brother, Tyler, living in our guest room with his gaming setup, empty beer bottles, and what looked like 3 different women's underwear scattered across my Egyptian cotton sheets. "Adam, you're home early," Monica said, standing in our kitchen doorway like she was blocking a crime scene. Her yoga pants were on backwards, and her hair looked like she'd been through a wind tunnel. Tyler just needed a place to crash for a few days. A few days. The kid had been there 3 weeks, eating our food, using our Netflix account, and apparently treating our guest room like his personal bachelor pad. I'd been working 16-hour days at the logistics company, trying to land the Morrison contract that would set us up for life. And this is what I came home to. "Tyler," I called out. "Get down here." Heavy footsteps thundered down our hardwood stairs. My wife's 21-year-old half-brother appeared, wearing nothing but boxer shorts and a smirk that made me want to punch something. Tyler was everything I wasn't at his age, tall, muscular, with that effortless charm that made people overlook his complete lack of ambition. "Hey, bro," he said, grabbing a beer from our fridge like he paid the mortgage. Monica said it was cool. "Monica doesn't pay the bills," I said. "I do, and I'm tired of supporting your extended vacation." Monica stepped between us, her hand on Tyler's chest. The gesture was protective, intimate in a way that made my stomach clench. "Adam, he's family. He's going through a rough patch." "A rough patch that's lasted since he dropped out of college 2 years ago?" Tyler laughed, a sound that grated against my nerves. "Relax, man. I'm not hurting anyone. Besides, Monica likes having me around. Don't you, Mon?" The way he said her name, Mon, like they shared some private joke, sent ice through my veins. Monica's cheeks flushed pink, and she wouldn't meet my eyes. "We'll talk about this later," she said. "Tyler, maybe you should get dressed." "Why? It's not like Adam hasn't seen a man's body before." Tyler flexed, showing off his abs. "Unless that's the problem." I wanted to throw him out right then, but something held me back. Maybe it was the way Monica was looking at him, or the way she'd been distant lately, always on her phone, always finding excuses to avoid our bedroom. 2 weeks, I said finally. "Then you're gone." Tyler shrugged. "Whatever you say, bro." That night, Monica and I lay in bed with 3 feet of cold space between us. She pretended to read her book while I stared at the ceiling, listening to Tyler's music thumping through the walls. "He's not that bad," Monica said without looking up. "You're just stressed about work." "I'm stressed about a lot of things." She finally turned toward me, her green eyes reflecting the bedside lamp. "Like what?" "Like the fact that you haven't touched me in 6 weeks. Like the way you light up when Tyler walks into a room. Like the way you've been taking hour-long showers and hiding your phone screen when I walk by." "The Morrison contract," I said instead. "If we don't land it, the company might have to make cuts." "You'll get it," she said, already turning away. "You always do." But I wasn't sure about anything anymore. The next morning, I called Peterson Security Systems. If Tyler was going to be in my house, I wanted to know what he was doing when I wasn't around. "Mr. Grayson," the installer said when he arrived that afternoon. "I'm Dave Feldman. Heard you want the full package." Feldman was ex-police with the kind of steady eyes that had seen everything twice. He walked through our house, pointing out blind spots and vulnerability points with military precision. "Kitchen's your main gathering area," he said, setting up a discreet camera above our breakfast nook. "Living room, front entrance, back patio. We'll have full coverage." "What about the guest room?" Feldman paused. "That's where your brother-in-law is staying?" "Unfortunately." "I'd recommend a hallway camera instead. Catches anyone coming or going without the privacy issues." "Smart man." I approved the installation and went back to work, feeling better than I had in weeks. At least now I'd know what was happening in my own house. The Morrison presentation was scheduled for Friday. I spent the rest of the week perfecting every detail, every slide, every possible question they might ask. This contract would change everything. Enough money to pay off the mortgage, maybe take that trip to Italy Monica had been talking about since our honeymoon. Thursday night, I came home to find Tyler cooking dinner. Actually cooking, not just heating up leftover pizza. He'd made some kind of pasta dish that smelled incredible, and Monica was sitting at the kitchen island, laughing at something he'd said. "Adam!" she called out when she saw me. "Tyler made his famous carbonara. Isn't that sweet?" Sweet wasn't the word I'd use. Tyler was shirtless again, his muscles flexing as he stirred the pan. Monica was wearing a sundress I'd bought her for our anniversary, the one she claimed was too fancy for everyday wear. Smells good, I admitted. Family recipe, Tyler said, not looking up from the stove. Our grandmother taught me before she died. Monica never learned it. Our grandmother. Not Monica's grandmother, but his and Monica's shared grandmother. A reminder that Tyler had family history with my wife that stretched back decades before I'd even met her. Well, I appreciate the effort, I said, loosening my tie. Big day tomorrow. The Morrison thing? Monica asked. You've been working so hard on that. It'll be worth it if we land it. Tyler plated the pasta with restaurant-level presentation. What kind of business is Morrison in? Shipping logistics. They need a complete overhaul of their distribution network. Sounds boring, Tyler said, handing Monica her plate first. Their fingers brushed as she took it, and she smiled at him in a way she hadn't smiled at me in months. It's not boring when it pays for this house, I said. Right, Tyler said. Money, the most important thing. The pasta was delicious, which somehow made everything worse. We ate in relative silence. Monica asking Tyler about his job search. Tyler giving vague answers about exploring his options. I excused myself early, claiming I needed to review my presentation one more time. From my home office, I could hear them talking and laughing in the kitchen. Monica's laugh, bright and musical, echoed through the house like it used to when we were dating. When was the last time I'd made her laugh like that? I tried to focus on my slides, but their voices kept drifting upstairs. I caught fragments. Tyler telling some story about college. Monica asking about his plans. Both of them talking in the easy, comfortable way of people who'd known each other their whole lives. Around 11, I heard Tyler's footsteps on the stairs, then Monica's softer steps following a few minutes later. She slipped into our bedroom quietly, probably thinking I was asleep. How'd the review go? She whispered. Good. I think we've got a real shot. She climbed into bed, and for a moment I thought she might move closer, might touch my shoulder or kiss my cheek like she used to. Instead, she settled on her side of the bed with a soft sigh. Tyler really is trying, you know, she said into the darkness. He's been looking for jobs online all week. On his gaming computer? Adam. Her voice carried a warning. He's family. He's a grown man who's never held a job for more than 6 months. Everyone deserves a second chance. This is his 5th chance. Monica didn't respond, and after a few minutes, her breathing shifted into the rhythm of sleep. I lay awake for another hour, thinking about the Morrison presentation, about Tyler's easy confidence, about the way Monica's whole demeanor changed when he was around. Finally, I drifted off, dreaming about shipping routes and distribution networks and the sound of Monica's laughter floating through someone else's house. The Morrison presentation went perfectly, better than perfectly. By noon Friday, I had a signed contract worth $2.4 million and a handshake that would keep our company running for the next 3 years. Grayson, you beautiful bastard, my boss Rick Martinez said, slapping my back hard enough to rattle my teeth. This calls for celebration. Drinks at Murphy's? Rain check, I said, loosening my tie. I want to get home and share the good news with Monica. Ah, the devoted husband. Give her my regards. I drove home with the windows down, singing along to classic rock and planning how I'd tell Monica. Maybe we'd open that bottle of champagne we'd been saving, order dinner from that expensive Italian place she loved. Heck, maybe we'd finally book that trip to Tuscany. The house was quiet when I pulled into the driveway. Monica's car was there, but Tyler's beat-up Honda was gone. Perfect. A little alone time with my wife was exactly what I needed. Monica, I called out, pushing through the front door. Honey, I've got incredible news. No answer. I checked the living room, the kitchen, even the back patio. Her purse was on the counter, her phone plugged in by the coffee maker. She had to be here somewhere. I was heading upstairs to check our bedroom when my phone rang. Unknown number. Hello? Mr. Grayson? This is Dave Feldman from Peterson Security. Oh, hi, Dave. System working okay? There was a long pause. Sir, I need to speak with you about something. Are you at home right now? Yeah, just got back from work. Why? Sir, I'm going to need you to sit down. My stomach dropped. What's wrong? Did someone break in? No, sir, nothing like that. But, Mr. Grayson, I monitor the feeds for the first week after installation, just to make sure everything's working properly. And I saw something last night that... Another pause. Sir, as a professional courtesy, I'm going to delete this footage. But as a father and a husband, I need to tell you what I saw. The room started spinning. What did you see? Sir, at approximately 3 a.m. this morning, your wife and the young man staying in your guest room were in your kitchen, on your kitchen island, and they were... Feldman's voice trailed off. Mr. Grayson, I've been doing this job for 15 years, and I've never made a call like this, but what I saw made me physically sick. I'm deleting the footage now. No, the word came out as a croak. Don't delete it. I need to see it. Sir, I really don't think... Don't delete it. My voice was stronger now, fueled by something cold and sharp growing in my chest. Send it to me, right now. Mr. Grayson, send it to me, or I'll drive to your office and watch it there. Another long pause. I'll email you a link, but sir, whatever you're thinking of doing, think about your kids first. Kids? We didn't have kids. Then I realized Feldman had seen Monica and Tyler together and assumed Tyler was my son. The age difference, the family resemblance. Of course he'd think that. Just send the link, I said. My phone chimed 30 seconds later. I sat down at the kitchen island, the same kitchen island, and opened the email. The video file loaded slowly, showing our kitchen in grainy night vision green. At first, nothing happened. Just empty counters and shadows. Then, at the 3:17 timestamp, Monica appeared in the frame. She was wearing the silk nightgown I'd bought her for Valentine's Day, the one she claimed was too fancy for regular wear. Tyler followed her into the kitchen. Shirtless as usual, but this time Monica didn't seem to mind. She moved toward him like a magnet finding metal, her hands sliding up his chest while his settled on her waist. I should have stopped watching, should have closed the laptop and thrown it across the room. Instead, I sat frozen as my wife of 8 years kissed another man in our kitchen with a passion I hadn't seen from her in months. What happened next was worse than a kiss. Much worse. Tyler lifted Monica onto the kitchen island, our kitchen island, where we ate breakfast every morning, and she wrapped her legs around his waist like she was drowning and he was a life raft. The silk nightgown hit the floor. I slammed the laptop shut and ran to the bathroom, barely making it before I threw up everything I'd eaten since breakfast. The Morrison celebration, the champagne plans, the trip to Tuscany, all of it swirled down the drain with my lunch. When I finally stopped retching, I splashed cold water on my face and looked at myself in the mirror. Same brown hair, same tired eyes, same face that had apparently stopped being enough for my wife somewhere along the way. My phone buzzed. A text from Monica. At the store with Tyler. Back soon. How did the presentation go? At the store. Right. Probably buying protections or pregnancy tests or whatever the heck cheating wives bought with their husband's money. I walked back to the kitchen and opened the laptop again. This time I forced myself to watch the whole thing. Every touch, every whispered word I couldn't hear but could see in the shape of their mouths, every moment that proved my marriage was a lie. The worst part wasn't the closeness. The worst part was how happy Monica looked. How alive, like Tyler had unlocked some part of her that I'd never even known existed. When the video ended, I sat in the silence of my kitchen and tried to figure out what to do next. Confront them, throw Tyler out, file for divorce. Then I heard Monica's car in the driveway. I closed the laptop and walked to the living room, settling into my chair with a beer like nothing had happened, like my world hadn't just imploded in high-definition night vision. Adam? Monica called out, her voice bright and cheerful. You home, honey? In here, I managed. She appeared in the doorway looking radiant. Her cheeks were flushed, her hair slightly messed, and she was wearing a new dress I'd never seen before. Tyler followed behind her, carrying grocery bags and wearing a satisfied smirk that made me want to break his pretty face. So, Monica said, settling onto the couch across from me. How did it go? Did you get the contract? For a moment, I couldn't remember what she was talking about. The Morrison contract felt like something that had happened to someone else, in a different lifetime. We got it, I said finally. Monica squealed and jumped up, rushing toward me with her arms outstretched. For a split second, muscle memory almost made me stand up to hug her. Then I remembered where those hands had been 3 hours ago, and I stayed seated. She hugged me anyway, her familiar perfume mixing with something else, Tyler's cologne. This is incredible, she said, pulling back to look at me. We should celebrate. Tyler, isn't this amazing? Tyler set down the grocery bags and grinned. Congratulations, bro. Guess all that hard work paid off. Yeah, I said. Hard work always pays off eventually. Something in my tone made Monica pause. She studied my face with those green eyes that had once made me forget my own name. You okay? You look tired. Long day, I said. I think I'll turn in early. But we should celebrate, Monica protested. I bought champagne. Of course she had. Probably planning to get me drunk so I wouldn't notice her sneaking out to Tyler's room later. Tomorrow, I said, standing up. I need some sleep. I walked upstairs without looking back, leaving my wife and her lover to plan whatever they were planning. In our bedroom, I sat on the edge of the bed and stared at the wall, trying to process what I'd learned. 8 years of marriage. 8 years of thinking I knew the woman sleeping next to me every night. 8 years of working my A off to build a life for us, while she was apparently building a life with someone else. My phone buzzed. Another email from Feldman. Mr. Grayson, I've deleted the footage from our servers as promised. Whatever you decide to do, I hope you'll think carefully about the consequences. These situations rarely end well for anyone involved. I typed back, "Thank you for the heads up. You did the right thing." But as I hit send, I wasn't sure what the right thing was anymore. All I knew was that everything I'd believed about my life was a lie, and I had no idea what to do about it. Downstairs, I could hear Monica and Tyler talking in low voices, their words too quiet to make out. Occasionally, one of them would laugh, the sound drifting up through the floorboards like a knife twisting in my chest. I pulled out my laptop and opened a new browser window. If my wife wanted to play games, I'd learn the rules. But first, I needed to understand exactly what I was dealing with. Time to do some research. I didn't sleep that night. Instead, I lay in bed listening to Monica breathe beside me, wondering how long this had been going on. When had it started? The first night Tyler moved in? Before that? How many times had they been together in my house, in my bed, while I was working late to pay for their lifestyle? Around 4 a.m., I heard footsteps in the hallway. Soft, careful steps trying not to wake me. I cracked one eye open and saw Monica's side of the bed was empty. She'd slipped out while I was pretending to sleep. I waited 10 minutes, then got up and crept to our bedroom door. The house was dark and quiet, but I could hear muffled voices from downstairs. Monica and Tyler talking in whispers. My phone was on the nightstand. I opened the security app Feldman had installed and switched to the live feed. The kitchen camera showed them sitting at the breakfast table, Monica wearing one of my old t-shirts and Tyler in his boxer shorts. They were leaning toward each other, foreheads almost touching, having some kind of intense conversation. I couldn't hear what they were saying, but their body language told the story. Monica reached across the table to touch Tyler's hand. He brought her fingers to his lips and kissed them. She smiled and mouthed something that looked like, "I love you. I love you." I closed the app before I saw anything else and went back to bed. Monica returned about an hour later, sliding under the covers like nothing had happened. When my alarm went off at 7 a.m., she was still asleep, looking peaceful and innocent and beautiful, looking like a stranger. "Morning," I said when she finally woke up. "Morning," she mumbled, stretching like a cat. "Sleep okay?" "Like a baby." She smiled and kissed my cheek, the same casual morning kiss we'd shared for 8 years. Except now it felt like a performance, like she was playing the role of loving wife while thinking about someone else. "I'll make coffee," she said, getting up. "Tyler's probably awake by now." Of course he was, probably waiting for her in the kitchen. I showered and got dressed for work, moving through my normal routine while my mind raced. I needed a plan. I needed to know exactly what I was dealing with before I made any moves. At the office, I couldn't concentrate on anything. The Morrison contract sat on my desk, waiting for final signatures, but all I could think about was Monica and Tyler. How long had this been going on? What did they talk about when I wasn't around? Did they laugh about me? "You look like heck," said Rita, my assistant. She was 63 years old with silver hair and the kind of direct manner that came from raising 5 kids. "What's wrong?" "Nothing," I said. "Just tired." "Bees, you look like someone ran over your dog." "What happened?" Rita had worked for me for 4 years. She'd helped me through the stress of building my career, celebrated my promotion to department head, and even helped me pick out Monica's anniversary gifts. If anyone would understand, it was her. "If you suspected your spouse was cheating," I said carefully, "what would you do?" Rita's expression shifted from concern to fury. "That witch. I didn't say Monica was..." "You didn't have to. I've seen how she looks at other men at company parties. Always figured you were too good for her." Rita sat down across from my desk. "What did you find?" I told her about the security footage, about Tyler living in our house, about the late-night conversations and the way Monica lit up around him. Rita listened without interrupting, her face getting darker with every detail. "So, what's your plan?" she asked when I finished. "I don't have one yet." "Well, you better get one fast. Women like Monica don't cheat for fun." They cheat because they're planning something. Divorce, probably. And if she's smart, she's already talking to a lawyer. That thought hit me like a punch to the gut. Of course. Monica wasn't just having an affair. She was planning an exit strategy. Probably figured she could take half of everything, including the money from the Morrison contract. I need to protect myself, I said. You're absolutely right. First thing, document everything. Dates, times, any evidence you can find. Second thing, get your own lawyer. Third thing, don't let them know you know. The element of surprise is the only advantage you've got. Rita was right. I spent the rest of the day making notes, creating a timeline of suspicious behavior, and researching divorce attorneys. By 5 p.m., I had a plan. I drove home with a stop at Best Buy where I bought a small digital recorder. If Monica and Tyler were having late-night conversations, I wanted to know what they were saying. The house was quiet when I got home. Monica's car was in the driveway, but Tyler's was gone. I found Monica in the living room, curled up on the couch with a book and a glass of wine. "Hey," she said, looking up with a smile. "How was work?" "Good. Where's Tyler?" "Job interview. Some restaurant downtown is looking for a bartender." "That's great. Maybe he'll finally move out." Monica's smile faltered slightly. "He might, if he gets the job." She didn't sound happy about the possibility. I sat down beside her, close enough to smell her perfume and the wine on her breath. "We should talk about that," I said. "About Tyler moving out. I know he's family, but we need our privacy back." "I know," Monica said, but she wouldn't meet my eyes. "It's just, he's been through a lot lately. His ex-girlfriend really messed him up." "What ex-girlfriend?" "This girl from college, Sarah something. They were together for 2 years and she cheated on him with his roommate. Really broke his heart." The irony was so thick I could taste it. Tyler was heartbroken about being cheated on, so he decided to help my wife cheat on me. Perfect logic. "That's rough," I said. "But he can't stay here forever." "I know." Monica finally looked at me, her green eyes soft and sad. "You're being really patient with him. I appreciate that." For a moment, she looked like the woman I'd married, vulnerable and grateful and genuinely sorry for putting me in a difficult position. It would have been easy to believe she was just being a good sister, helping family through a rough patch. Then I remembered the security footage and the way she'd looked at Tyler in our kitchen. "I'm going to work in my office for a while," I said, standing up. "The Morrison contract needs some final review." "Okay, I'll call you when dinner's ready." I went upstairs and set up the digital recorder in our bedroom, hiding it behind some books on the nightstand. If Monica was sneaking out for late-night conversations, I'd finally hear what she was saying. Around 8 p.m., Tyler came home. I heard his car in the driveway, then his voice calling out to Monica. She practically ran to greet him, and I could hear them talking excitedly about his interview. "I got it," Tyler was saying. "Start Monday night. It's perfect. I'll be working evenings, so I won't be in your way as much." "That's wonderful," Monica said. But again, she didn't sound happy. I crept to the top of the stairs and listened to their conversation. They were in the living room, their voices carrying clearly through the house. "So, I guess I'll start looking for my own place," Tyler said. "You don't have to rush," Monica replied quickly. "I mean, you should save up some money first. Make sure the job works out." "Monica," Tyler's voice was softer now. "We talked about this. Adam's getting suspicious." A chill ran through me. They talked about me being suspicious? "He doesn't know anything," Monica said. "He's been working so much, he barely notices what's happening at home." "He notices more than you think. The way he looks at me, I think he knows something." "You're being paranoid." "Maybe, but we need to be more careful, at least until we figure out what we're doing." What they were doing, like they were planning something together. I heard footsteps and quickly retreated to my office, closing the door just as someone started up the stairs. A few minutes later, Monica knocked. "Dinner's ready," she called. "Be right there." We ate Tyler's cooking again, some kind of stir-fry that was probably delicious, though I could barely taste it. The conversation was normal on the surface. Tyler talked about his new job. Monica asked about my day. I made appropriate responses while my mind raced. They were being careful now, more aware that I might be watching, which meant they'd been careless before, and I'd missed signs that should have been obvious. After dinner, I excused myself again and went back to my office. I needed to think, to plan, to figure out my next move. But every time I tried to focus, I kept hearing Tyler's words. "At least until we figure out what we're doing." What were they planning? And how much time did I have before they put their plan into action? I was about to find out. The recorder picked up everything. I listened to the audio file the next morning while Monica was in the shower and Tyler was still asleep. 3 hours of conversation that left me colder with every word. I can't keep lying to him, Monica's voice whispered through my earbuds. Every time he touches me, I feel sick. You won't have to much longer, Tyler replied. Once I get established at the job, we can make our move. What if he fights the divorce? He won't, not when he finds out about us. He'll be too humiliated to put up a fight. I feel bad about the money, though. The Morrison contract. He worked so hard for that. Tyler laughed, a sound that made me want to put my fist through the wall. Monica, he's been taking you for granted for years. Working late, ignoring you, treating you like a housekeeper instead of a wife. You deserve better. I know, but nothing. You said it yourself. You haven't been happy in this marriage for 2 years. I'm just giving you the courage to do what you should have done a long time ago. 2 years. She'd been unhappy for 2 years and never said a word to me. Where will we go? Monica asked. I've been looking at apartments across town. Nothing fancy, but it's a start. Once the divorce is final and you get your settlement, we can find something better. What about Adam? I don't want to destroy him. He'll survive. Guys like Adam always land on their feet. Besides, it's not like you're taking everything, just what you're legally entitled to. Half of everything, half of our savings, half the value of the house, half of my retirement account, and probably alimony since Monica hadn't worked in 3 years. I turned off the recorder and sat in my office chair, staring at nothing. My wife was planning to leave me for her half-brother. They'd been using my house as their love nest while plotting to take half my money. And they thought I was too stupid to figure it out. They were wrong about that. I spent the weekend watching them, gathering evidence and making plans of my own. Monica and Tyler were more careful now, but they couldn't help themselves completely. I caught them holding hands in the kitchen when they thought I was outside. I saw Tyler kiss her forehead while she was cooking dinner. I watched them exchange looks across the dinner table that spoke of shared secrets and private jokes. By Sunday night, I was ready to make my move. I waited until Monday evening. Tyler had left for his first shift at the restaurant, and Monica was in the living room watching TV. I walked downstairs with my laptop and the printed transcripts of their recorded conversations. Monica, I said, sitting down across from her, we need to talk. She looked up from her show, probably some reality TV garbage about housewives or celebrities. What about... I opened the laptop and turned it toward her. The security footage was queued up, frozen on the frame where Tyler was lifting her onto the kitchen island. Monica's face went white. Adam, I can explain. Can you? I pressed play. She watched herself betray our marriage in high-definition silence. When Tyler's hands started roaming, she looked away. Turn it off, she whispered. Why? You didn't seem to mind performing for the cameras. Adam, please. I closed the laptop and picked up the transcripts. Let's talk about your plans instead. The apartment across town, the divorce settlement, how I'm going to be too humiliated to fight back. Did I miss anything? Monica started crying, but they weren't tears of remorse. They were tears of frustration, of someone whose carefully laid plans had just exploded in her face. How long? I asked. It's not what you think. How long, Monica? 6 weeks, she whispered. It started 6 weeks ago. Right around the time she'd stopped touching me, stopped laughing at my jokes, stopped pretending to be interested in my work. 6 weeks of lies and deception and planning my destruction. Why? I asked. Monica wiped her eyes and looked at me with something that might have been pity. Because I'm not happy, Adam. I haven't been happy for a long time. So you decided to sleep with your half-brother instead of talking to me about it? Don't be crude. Crude? I laughed, a sound with no humor in it. Monica, I watched you screw another man on our kitchen island. I think crude is exactly what this situation calls for. Tyler understands me, she said, lifting her chin defiantly. He listens to me, he makes me laugh, he makes me feel alive again. When was the last time you did any of those things? When was the last time you gave me the chance? I gave you 8 years of chances. The front door opened and Tyler walked in. He took one look at Monica's tear-stained face and my laptop and understood immediately what was happening. Crap, he said. Sit down, I told him. Adam, look, sit down or get out of my house right now. Tyler sat down next to Monica and she immediately grabbed his hand. Even now, caught red-handed, she was choosing him over me. So, I said, looking at both of them, what's the plan now? Do you still want to wait until Tyler gets established at his job, or are we moving straight to the part where you take half my money and disappear? We never meant for it to happen like this, Tyler said. It just happened. Bees. I heard the recordings. You've been planning this for weeks. Monica's head snapped up. Recordings? I pulled out the digital recorder and set it on the coffee table. Every late-night conversation, every whispered plan, every time you talked about how stupid and oblivious I am, I heard it all. Tyler stood up, his face flushing red. You recorded us? In your own house? It's my house, I said calmly. I can record whatever I want in my house. That's illegal. Actually, it's not. I looked it up. Single-party consent state, and since it's my house, I don't need anyone's permission to record conversations that happen here. Monica was staring at the recorder like it was a snake. What are you going to do with those? That depends on you. What do you mean? I stood up and walked to the window, looking out at the neighborhood I'd worked so hard to afford. Nice houses, well-maintained lawns, the kind of place where people lived normal, honest lives with spouses who didn't betray them. Here's what's going to happen, I said, turning back to face them. Tyler, you're going to pack your crap and get out of my house tonight. You're going to stay away from Monica, and you're going to stay away from me. If I see you here again, I'll call the police and have you arrested for trespassing. You can't, Tyler started. I can, and I will. Monica, you have a choice. You can stay here, we can go to marriage counseling, and we can try to work through this, or you can leave with Tyler and we'll start divorce proceedings immediately. Monica looked between Tyler and me, her face torn with indecision. But here's the thing, I continued. If you choose divorce, I'm going to make sure everyone knows exactly why our marriage ended. Your friends, your family, my family, everyone at my office who's met you over the years. I'm going to tell them all about how you cheated on me with your half-brother in our kitchen while I was working to support both of you. Adam, you wouldn't try me. Tyler stood up, his hands clenched into fists. You bastard. You can't threaten her like that. I'm not threatening anyone. I'm just promising to tell the truth. Unless, of course, Monica decides she'd rather work on our marriage than run off with a 21-year-old bartender who's never supported himself for more than 6 months at a time. The room fell silent except for the sound of Monica's quiet crying. I watched my wife and her lover realize that their carefully laid plans had just crumbled into dust. I need time to think, Monica finally said. You have until Tyler finishes packing, I replied. Then you both need to make a decision. Tyler stormed upstairs and I could hear him throwing things around in the guest room. Monica sat on the couch, staring at her hands and crying silently. I really did love you, she said without looking up. I still do in a way. Just not enough to stay faithful. It wasn't about faithfulness. It was about feeling alive again. And now, she finally looked at me, her green eyes red-rimmed and desperate. Now I don't know what I feel. 20 minutes later, Tyler came downstairs with 2 duffel bags and a garbage bag full of his belongings. He looked at Monica expectantly. Well, he said. Monica stood up slowly like an old woman with arthritis. She looked at me one last time, and I saw the exact moment she made her decision. I'm sorry, Adam, she said. I really am. Then she walked out of my house with Tyler, leaving me alone with 8 years of memories and the sound of their car disappearing into the night. I sat down in my chair and tried to feel something. Anger, sadness, relief, anything. Instead, I felt empty, hollow, like someone had scooped out everything inside me and left only skin and bones. My phone rang. Rita's number. How did it go? She asked. They're gone. Both of them. Both of them. Good. You're better off without her, Adam. I know it doesn't feel like it right now, but you are. Maybe she was right. Maybe in a year or two, I'd look back on this night as the moment my real life began. Maybe I'd meet someone who actually loved me, someone who wouldn't betray me for a younger man with better abs. But right now, all I felt was the crushing weight of failure and the echo of Monica's footsteps, walking out of my life forever. I hung up the phone and sat in the silence of my empty house, wondering what the heck I was supposed to do next. They came back 3 days later. I was working in my home office when I heard Monica's key in the front door. For a split second, my heart jumped with something that might have been hope. Maybe she'd realized she'd made a mistake. Maybe she wanted to try counseling after all. Then I heard Tyler's voice, and I knew they weren't here to reconcile. I saved my work and walked downstairs. Monica and Tyler were in the living room, but they weren't alone. A woman I didn't recognize was with them, mid-40s, expensive suit, briefcase in hand, lawyer. Adam, Monica said, standing up when she saw me. This is Patricia Wells. She's representing me in the divorce. Patricia Wells looked like she ate men for breakfast and picked her teeth with their bones. She extended a manicured hand that felt like shaking hands with a shark. Mr. Grayson, I've heard a lot about you. I'm sure you have. We need to discuss the terms of the dissolution, Wells said, opening her briefcase. Monica's prepared to be reasonable, but she has certain expectations regarding the division of assets. I bet she does. Wells pulled out a thick folder and set it on my coffee table. We're proposing a 50-50 split of all marital assets, including the house, savings accounts, retirement funds, and any recent business earnings. Monica will also require alimony payments for a period of 5 years, given that she left her career to support your professional advancement. I picked up the folder and flipped through it. They wanted half of everything, plus $3,000 a month in alimony. With the money from the Morrison contract, Monica would walk away with over $1 million. This is very generous, Wells continued. In exchange, Monica is willing to agree to a no-fault divorce with no public disclosure of the reasons for the marriage's dissolution. In other words, I said, she gets half my money, and I keep my mouth shut about why she's leaving. That's a crude way to put it, but essentially correct. I looked at Monica, who was sitting next to Tyler on my couch, holding his hand like they were already married. She wouldn't meet my eyes. What if I say no? I asked. Wells smiled, showing teeth that probably cost more than most people's cars. Then we go to court, and these proceedings become a matter of public record. Monica will be forced to testify about the breakdown of your marriage, including your emotional unavailability, your neglect of her needs, and your obsessive focus on work to the exclusion of your relationship. And Tyler? Tyler is irrelevant to the legal proceedings. Monica's relationship with him began after your marriage was already over, in all but name. I laughed. Is that the story you're going with? It's the truth, Monica said, finally looking at me. Our marriage has been dead for 2 years, Adam. Tyler just helped me realize it. By sleeping with you on our kitchen island? Wells held up a hand. Mr. Grayson, I understand you're emotional, but emotional? I stood up and walked to the window. My wife cheated on me with her half-brother, planned to steal half my money, and now she's sitting in my living room with a lawyer trying to blackmail me into silence. Emotional doesn't begin to cover it. Nevertheless, Wells said, the offer stands. You have 72 hours to consider it. I don't need 72 hours. Monica's head snapped up. Adam, I said no. Wells closed her briefcase with a sharp click. Mr. Grayson, I don't think you understand the position you're in. If this goes to court, when this goes to court, I corrected, I'll have evidence of adultery, recordings of your client planning to defraud me, and documentation of her lies and deception going back 6 weeks. How do you think that's going to play with a judge? Those recordings were made without consent. In my own house, which makes them perfectly legal. Did you not research Ohio law before you came here? Wells's confident expression flickered for the first time. She hadn't expected me to know the law, hadn't expected me to have evidence, hadn't expected me to fight back. Monica, I said, turning to my wife, last chance. You can call off your lawyer, move back in here, and we can try to work this out. Or you can walk out that door and spend the next year in court while everyone we know finds out exactly what kind of woman you are. Tyler stood up, his face red with anger. You can't talk to her like that. I can talk to my wife however I want in my own house. She's not your wife anymore. Actually, she is. Until a judge says otherwise, she's legally my wife. And you're legally a home-wrecking piece of crap who's been living off my charity while screwing my woman. Tyler took a step toward me, and I smiled. I was 41 years old, but I was still in decent shape, and I'd been fantasizing about hitting this kid for weeks. Tyler, don't, Monica said, grabbing his arm. Listen to your girlfriend, I said. Attack charges won't look good on your bartending application. Wells stood up, clearly recognizing that the situation was spiraling out of control. Mr. Grayson, my client's offer is more than fair. If you force this to go to trial, the legal fees alone will cost you more than... I don't care about the money, I said. I care about the principle. Monica made her choice when she decided to cheat on me. Now she gets to live with the consequences. You're making a mistake, Wells said. No, I made a mistake 8 years ago when I married a woman who was capable of this, but I'm not making any more mistakes. Monica started crying again, but this time Tyler was the one comforting her. I watched them console each other in my living room and felt nothing but disgust. Get out, I said. Adam, please, Monica started. Get out of my house, all of you. If you want to communicate with me, do it through lawyers. If you set foot on my property again, I'll call the police. Wells packed up her briefcase, and the three of them headed for the door. Monica paused at the threshold and turned back to look at me. I really am sorry, she said. I never wanted it to end like this. Yes, you did, I replied. You just wanted it to end with you getting paid for it. After they left, I poured myself a scotch and called Rita. How bad is it? She asked. They want half of everything plus alimony. Greedy witch. What did you tell them? I told them to go to heck. Good. You got a lawyer yet? I will by tomorrow. Make sure you get a good one. Someone who's not afraid to play dirty. I spent the evening researching divorce attorneys and found exactly what I was looking for. A woman named Sarah Chen, who specialized in high-asset divorces and had a reputation for being absolutely ruthless. Her website featured testimonials from clients who'd walked away from their marriages with everything they wanted and then some. The next morning, I called her office. Miss Chen, I said when she picked up, my name is Adam Grayson, and I need someone who can help me destroy my cheating wife in divorce court. Mr. Grayson, she replied, and I could hear the smile in her voice. I think you've called the right person. We met that afternoon. Sarah Chen was everything her reputation promised, sharp, aggressive, and completely without mercy when it came to unfaithful spouses. I told her everything. The security footage, the recordings, the affair with Tyler, Monica's plan to take half my money. This is beautiful, Chen said, reviewing my evidence. Your wife's lawyer is Patricia Wells? You know her? Oh, I know Patty. She's good, but she's used to dealing with men who roll over and play dead when their wives cheat. She's not going to know what hit her. What are my chances? Chen smiled, and it was the kind of smile that made me glad she was on my side. Mr. Grayson, by the time I'm done with your wife, she'll be lucky to walk away with the clothes on her back. I like the sound of that. Good, because we're going to war, and I don't believe in taking prisoners. I left Chen's office feeling better than I had in weeks. Monica wanted to play hardball? Fine. She was about to learn that I'd been playing in a much tougher league than she'd ever imagined. The real fight was just beginning. 2 weeks later, everything changed. I was at work when Chen called with an update. Adam, you're going to love this. I had a private investigator follow your wife and her boyfriend. Guess what we found? Tell me. Tyler's been cheating on Monica with a cocktail waitress from his restaurant. 22 years old, blonde, and apparently very flexible. We have photos of them together at a motel last Tuesday while Monica thought he was working a double shift. I started laughing. I couldn't help it. Monica had blown up her marriage for a guy who was already cheating on her. It gets better, Chen continued. The cocktail waitress is pregnant. Jesus. I'm having the photos delivered to Monica this afternoon, along with a revised settlement offer. We're now asking for the house, full custody of all assets, and Tyler's immediate eviction from any property you own or pay for. What are the chances she'll take it? After she sees these photos, I'd say pretty good. Heck hath no fury like a woman scorned. And your wife just got scorned by the same guy she used to scorn you. The photos were delivered at 3 p.m. By 4 p.m., my phone was ringing. Adam? Monica's voice was thick with tears. We need to talk. Talk to my lawyer. Please, just 5 minutes. Against my better judgment, I agreed to meet her at a coffee shop downtown. She looked terrible, red-eyed, pale, like she hadn't slept in days. When she saw me, she started crying all over again. Did you know, she asked, about Tyler's girlfriend? I found out this morning. How could he do this to me? The irony was so thick I could have cut it with a knife. Gee, Monica, I can't imagine how it feels to be betrayed by someone you trusted. She flinched like I'd slapped her. I deserve that. You deserve a lot more than that. I know you hate me. I don't hate you, I said, and realized it was true. I feel sorry for you. You threw away 8 years of marriage for a guy who was using you the same way you were using me. It wasn't like that with us. Tyler and I, we had something real. Real enough that he knocked up a waitress while you were planning your new life together? Monica buried her face in her hands. I don't know what to do. You could try telling the truth for once. What do you mean? I mean, you could admit that this was never about being unhappy in our marriage. This was about you being bored and selfish and wanting something exciting. Tyler was just convenient. That's not true, isn't it? When did you first notice Tyler as more than just your little brother? When he started working out, when he got those tattoos, when he started bringing different girls home every weekend? Monica's silence was answer enough. You wanted what he represented, I continued. Youth, excitement, danger. You didn't want Tyler specifically. You just wanted to feel young again. Maybe, she whispered. Maybe you're right. I know I'm right. And now you're 40 years old, unemployed, and in love with a 21-year-old who's about to be a father with someone else. How's that working out for you? Monica looked up at me with desperate eyes. What if we tried again? What if I came home and we went to counseling and no? Adam, please, I made a mistake. You made a choice, and choices have consequences. I stood up to leave, but Monica grabbed my arm. I'll sign whatever papers you want, she said. I'll take nothing. Just please don't make this public. Please don't tell everyone what I did. I looked down at her, this woman I'd loved for 8 years, who'd shared my bed and my dreams and my bank account, and felt nothing but pity. I'll think about it, I said. The next morning, Chen called with more news. Monica's lawyer called. They're willing to settle for 20% of assets and no alimony. What did you tell her? I told her we'd consider 15% and Tyler pays rent for every day he lived in your house. And they agreed. Monica's signing the papers this afternoon. It was over. Just like that, my marriage was officially dead, and Monica was walking away with almost nothing. I should have felt victorious. Instead, I felt empty. That evening, I was cleaning out Monica's things when I found a photo album I'd forgotten about. Our wedding pictures, vacation photos, snapshots of happier times when we were young and in love and thought we'd be together forever. In one photo, we were at the beach in Mexico, both of us tan and laughing at something outside the frame. Monica looked radiant, genuinely happy in a way I hadn't seen from her in years. I looked happy too, younger, more optimistic, like a man who believed in forever. I closed the album and put it in the box with the rest of her things. Tomorrow, I'd drop everything off at her new apartment, the crappy one-bedroom place across town where she was living alone since Tyler had moved in with his pregnant girlfriend. My phone rang. Rita's number. How you holding up? She asked. I'm fine. Bees, you sound like death warmed over. It's been a long day. Listen, some of us from the office are going out for drinks Friday. You should come. I don't know. Adam, you just won the divorce from heck and came out with everything you wanted. You should be celebrating, not sitting alone in that big house feeling sorry for yourself. Maybe she was right. Maybe it was time to start moving forward instead of looking backward. Okay, I said. Friday it is. Good. And Adam, wear something nice. There's a new woman in accounting I want you to meet. After I hung up, I walked through my empty house, thinking about the future for the first time in months. The mortgage was paid off with the Morrison money. I had my career, my health, and my freedom. I was 41 years old, young enough to start over, old enough to know what I wanted. What I wanted was never to be that trusting, naive fool again. The next woman I got involved with would have to earn my trust slowly, carefully, completely. No more blind faith. No more assuming the best of people who hadn't proven they deserved it. I poured myself a scotch and sat in my leather chair looking out at the neighborhood I'd fought so hard to keep. Nice houses, well-maintained lawns, the American dream made manifest in brick and mortar and carefully planned landscaping. Somewhere across town, Monica was probably crying herself to sleep in her cheap apartment, wondering how her perfect plan had gone so wrong. Tyler was probably dealing with morning sickness and baby furniture and the reality of being a father at 21. Wells was probably looking for her next victim, her next chance to destroy a man's life for profit. And I was here, alone but not lonely, victorious but not celebrating, free but not sure what to do with my freedom. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Adam, it's Monica. I know you don't want to hear from me, but I wanted you to know that I'm sorry, really, truly sorry. You deserve better than what I gave you. I hope someday you can forgive me. I stared at the message for a long time, then deleted it without responding. Some things didn't deserve an answer. Tomorrow, I'd drop off her boxes and close the final chapter of our story. Next week, I'd go out with my coworkers and maybe meet someone new. Next month, I'd start thinking about what I wanted my life to look like going forward. But tonight, I'd sit in my chair and drink my scotch and enjoy the silence of a house that was finally completely mine. It wasn't the ending I'd planned, but it was the ending I'd earned. And for the first time in months, that felt like enough.